the return of Christ's kingdom media. A new dawn has arrived.
Part 1. The Fractured Inner Architecture. Section 1. The Invasion of the Inner Territory. The ancient empires conquered through visible force. Chains, armies, taxation, occupation, and territorial domination. Modern Babylon advances further. The present age no longer seeks only control of the body, it seeks synchronization of the inner territory itself. The battlefield has moved inward. Attention, thought, reaction, appetite, imagination, memory, nervous system, and identity. Thus, the final war becomes governmental at the level of consciousness. The systems of the world now operate continuously against the inner man. Notifications without pause, stimulation without rest, outrage without resolution, consumption without satisfaction, and information without stillness. The modern individual exists beneath perpetual psychological occupation. This occupation functions through repetition. What is repeated becomes normalized. What becomes normalized eventually governs perception. What governs perception gradually governs desire. What governs desire eventually governs identity. Thus, synchronization no longer requires physical chains. The loop itself becomes the chain. The adversary understands that whoever governs focus, repetition, emotional rhythm, and internal narrative can gradually govern the entire man. This is why the modern age overwhelms humanity through endless feeds, perpetual stimulation, fragmented attention, accelerated outrage, algorithmic reinforcement, and continuous immersion. The inner world of man becomes flooded territory. The result is internal fragmentation. The spirit becomes crowded. The conscience becomes drowned beneath noise. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. Silence becomes foreign. Meditation becomes impossible. Discernment weakens beneath overload. Thus, the inner architecture begins collapsing long before the outer life visibly falls apart. This explains why Scripture continually emphasizes watchfulness, sobriety, guarding the heart, renewing the mind, and ruling the spirit. The war was always internal before it manifested externally. Babylon first conquers inwardly. External captivity merely reveals inward desynchronization already present. This pattern appears throughout Scripture. Israel desired Egypt inwardly before returning toward Egypt physically. The people feared giants internally before refusing the land externally. Corrupted kings first departed from covenant in the heart before nations collapsed publicly. Thus, the battle over the inner territory governed civilization itself. The records consistently reveal that a man without rule over his spirit becomes vulnerable territory. The undefended inner man becomes open infrastructure. Open to fear, open to appetite, open to manipulation, open to despair, open to false identity, and open to synchronization beneath rebellious order. This is why the modern age increasingly conditions humanity toward reaction over reflection, impulse over restraint, stimulation over stillness, and emotional velocity over discernment. A fragmented inner man becomes easier to govern externally. The systems do not merely desire labor, they desire synchronization. This reveals why covenant restoration must begin internally. Before kingdoms are restored, before civilizations realign, before structures are rebuilt, the inner government of man must be reclaimed. The heart must become lawful territory again. The conscience must recover sensitivity. The spirit must recover stillness. The mind must recover alignment. The nervous system must recover Sabbath. Thus, the reclamation of the inner man becomes the foundation of all larger restoration. For if Babylon governs the thoughts, the reactions, the desires, and the fears of the inner territory, then external freedom alone cannot preserve covenant alignment. The war has moved inward because the adversary understands a hidden principle. The inner throne room eventually governs the outer life. Thus, the final battle is not merely over institutions, but over who sits upon the throne within the human vessel itself. One government seeks perpetual synchronization through fear, appetite, stimulation, and fragmentation. The other restores peace, stillness, discernment, remembrance, restraint, and covenant order within the anatomy of the inner man. The age, therefore, stands at the threshold of internal reclamation. The systems of Babylon seek total psychological occupation, but TMH still seeks the heart.